ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैवं नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यभागवतसेवया भागवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna, welcome to this discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. Uh, we are right now discussing Canto 1, Chapter 14. I recently found the two recordings that I have done on this chapter. The audio was very bad. In some parts, it was not audible at all. That is why I'm recording from Shloka number 11 to 38. These were two classes, but I am now combining it as a single class. I it is a very important lesson. This chapter is a very important chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1. This chapter title is Disappearance of Lord Krishna. Narada Muni, so what does what do we discuss in this chapter? What is that Suta Goswami is explaining Shaunakadi Rishis? Narada Muni had entered to Yudhishthir Maharaj that Lord Krishna had disappeared from the planet and it is time for Pandavas to take their retirement. 7 months ago, Arjuna had gone to Dwaraka to meet Krishna, but he hadn't yet returned back. And we see that Yudhishthir Maharaj, meanwhile, saw many inauspicious omens in his kingdom. He saw irregularities in season, people became greedy and deceitful, and so on. As Yudhishthir Maharaj uh, was speaking these omens, inauspicious signs with his brother Bhima, Arjuna arrived. Seeing Arjuna dejected with tears in his eyes, Yudhishthir Maharaj is inquiring him various questions. This is the entire theme of this chapter. Now let us go to the shloka. We will be discussing from shloka number 11 to 38. There were bad omens experienced by Yudhishthir Maharaj, and then Arjuna appears there. Yudhishthir Maharaj inquires about various things to Arjuna, and one thing is Yadus, and then Yudhishthir Maharaj is glorifying Lord Krishna. This is what we will see now. Let's go to shloka. उरुक् उरु अक्षि भावमह्यं स्फुरन्ति अङ्ग पुनः पुनः वेपतश्चापि हृदये आराधास्यन्ति विप्रियम्. The left side of my body, my thighs, arms, and eyes are all querying again and again. I am having heart palpitations due to fear. All this indicates undesirable happenings. These shlokas from 11 to 20 are all bad omens. So let us complete all the shlokas up to shloka number 20 and then we can discuss. Shivaishodyatam adityam abhirauti analanana mamanga shara meyoyam abhirebhati abhirvat. Just see, O Bhima, how she jackal cries at the rising sun and vomits fire, and how the dog at me fearlessly. Dog barks at me fearlessly. शस्ताः कुर्वन्ति मां स्वाव्यं दक्षिणं पाशवो परे वाहंश्च पुरुषव्याघ्र लक्ष्यैरुदतो mama. O Bhimasena, tiger amongst men. Now useful animals like cows are passing me on my left side, and lower animals like asses are circumambulating me. My horses appear to weep upon seeing me. मृत्युदूतकपोतो उलुककम्पयं मनः प्रत्युलुकश्च कुह्वाहिनी वा Nay Vishwam Vaishunyamichatah. Just to see this pigeon is like a messenger of death. The shrieks of owl and the rival crows make my heart tremble. It appears that they want to make a void of whole universe. Text 15. Dumbradisha paridhayaha kampate bhu saha dribihi nirghatascha mahamstat shakam cha stanayit yenayit nubihi. Just see how the smoke encircles the sky. It appears that earth and mountains are throbbing. Just hear the cloudless thunder and see the bolts from the blue. वायुर्वाति करस्पर्शो रजसा विसृजंस्तमः असृग वर्षन्ति जलदा बिभत्सम् इव सर्वतः. The wind blows violently, blasting dust everywhere and creating darkness. Clouds are raining everywhere with bloody disasters. सूर्यम् अत प्रभं पश्य गृहमर्दं मितो दिवि शशङ्कुलैर्भूतगणैर्ज्वलिते इव रोदसी. The rays of sun are declining and stars appear to be fighting amongst themselves. Confused living entities appear to ablaze and weeping. Adyo nadascha shutubhi shubitaha shubitaha saramsi cha मनांसि च न ज्वलति अग्नि आर्येण कालोऽयं किं विदास्यति. Rivers, tributaries, ponds, reservoirs, and mines are all perturbed. Butter no longer ignites fire. What is this extraordinary time? What is going to happen? न पिबन्ति स्तनं मत्सा न दुह्यन्ति च मातरः उदन्ति अश्रुमुखा गावो न दृश्यन्ति वृषभावजे. The cows do not suck the teats of the cows, nor do cows give milk. They are standing crying, tears in their eyes, and bulls take no pleasure in the pasturing grounds. दैव तानि रुदन्ति वा स्विद्यन्ति हि उचलन्ति च इमे जनपदग्रामा पुरोद्याना करा अश्रमाः पृष्ठश्रियो निरानन्दाः किम् अगं दर्शयन्ति नः. The deities seem to be crying in the temple, lamenting and perspiring. They seem about to leave. All the cities, villages, towns, gardens, mines, and hermitages are now devoid of beauty and bereft of all happiness. I do not know what sort of calamities are now awaiting us. We see that these are all very bad omens. Jackal and dog howling are very inauspicious. In summary, what is that? What is that Yudhishthir Maharaj saying? Jackal and dog howling are very inauspicious. Howling is nothing but crying. Howling of dog means Yamaduta's presence. Cow going in anti-clockwise, donkey going in clockwise are bad omens. Cow udders should be filled with milk. If they are not filled with milk, cow is unhappy. When the cow is smiling, cow's milk bags is full, then it is a very good omen. Howl making harsh cries is inauspicious. Cows try to drink milk from udders of cows, but if there is no milk, then the calf is not drinking milk. The sign of Lord's lotus feet brings auspiciousness to Bhumi and people living there. Thunderbolt, which is one of the important sign in the feet of Lord, destroys the sins of people. And Ankusha, that is elephant god, will keep the mind of people in control. Like elephant god controls elephant in control, the Ankusha in the that is the elephant god mark in the feet of lotus feet of Lord Krishna helps to keep the mind of people in control. That is why when Krishna is present in Vrindavan, people feel very happy. Now let us go to shloka number 21. Manya ete mohopate nonam bhagavata padai Ananya Purusha Shribi Hinabur Atasobhaga. I think that all these earthly disturbances indicate some greater loss to the good fortune of the world. The world was fortunate to have been marked with footprints of Lord Lotus feet of Lord. These signs indicate that this will no longer be. Yudhishthir Maharaj is able to infer the possible root cause for these inauspicious signs. इति चिन्तयतस्तस्य दृष्टारिष्टेन चेतसा राज्ञा प्रत्यगमद् ब्रह्मन् यदुपूर्या कपिध्वजा. O Brahmana Shaunika, while Maharaj Yudhishthira observing the inauspicious signs on the earth at that time was thus thinking to himself, Arjuna came back from the city of Yadus, Dwaraka. Text 23. Tam padayo nipatitam अयता पूर्वम् आतुरम् अधो वदनम् अबिन्दून् सृजन्तं नयन abjayoh. When he bowed at the feet, the king saw that his dejection was unprecedented. His head was down, and tears glided from the lotus eyes of Arjuna. It's 24. Vilokyo digna hridayo vichayam anujam nripaha prichanti smansuran madhye samsmaran naraderitam. Seeing Arjuna pale due to heartfelt anxieties, the king, remembering the indications of sage Narada, questioned him in the midst of the friends. Text 25. Yudhishthira kachid anarthapuryam na puryam nah svajanaha sukam aste madhuboja dashar ha satva andaka krishnaya. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, My dear brother, please tell me whether our friends and relatives such as Madhu, Bhoja, Dashara, Haraha, Satvata, Andaka, and the members of Yadu family are all passing their days in happiness. Text 26. Suro matamaha kachit swasti aste vata marishaha matula sanujo kachit kushali anaka dundubihi. Is my respectful grandfather Surasena in a happy mood? And are my maternal uncle Vasudeva and his younger brothers all doing well? Text 27. सप्तस्व सारस्तत्पत्न्यो मातुलानय सहात्मजाः आस्ते शश्नुषा क्षेमं देवकी प्रमुखा स्वयं. Is seven wives headed by Devaki are all sisters? Are they and their sons and daughters-in-law all happy? Text 28-29. Kachid Raja Uko Jivati Asat Putro Asya Chanujaha Idika Sasuto Akruro Jayanta Gada Saranaha Aste Kushalam Kachid Yecha Satrujit Adayaha Kachid Aste Shukam Ramo Bhagavan Satsatam Prabhu. Here, Bhagavan, here it is a very specific word, Balarama, or Ugrasena, whose son was mischievous Kamsa and his younger brother still living, are Hridika and his son Kritavarma happy, are Akrura, Jayanta, Gada, Sharana, Shatrujit all happy. How is Balarama the personality of God and protector of devotee? Bhagavan Satvatam Prabhu. Satvata means devotees. So, Supreme Personality of Godhead is talked about here. Prabhupada is writing, by His divine grace only one can approach the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, and thus Sri Balarama is the mercy incarnation of Lord, manifested as spiritual master, the savior of the pure devotee. Text 30. Pradyumna sarva vrishinam shukam aste maharatah gambira raya Aniruddho Vardate Bhagavanuta. How is Pradyumna, the great general of Vrishni family, is he happy? And is Aniruddha, the plenary expansion of personality of God, at faring well? Pradyumna and Aniruddha are also expansions of personality of Godhead, and thus they are also Vishnu Tattva. At Dwaraka, Lord Vasudeva is engaged in his transcendental pastimes along with his plenary expansions, namely Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. And therefore, each and every one of them can be addressed as personality of Godhead, as it is mentioned in connection with the name Aniruddha. Text 31. Sushesha सुषेणश्चारुदेष्णश्च शाम्बो जाम्बवति सुतः अन्ये च काष्णी प्रवरा सपुत्रो ऋषभादयः are all the chief and sons of Lord Krishna, such as Sushena, Charudeshna, Samba, and the son of Jambavati, and Rishabha. All were their sons, all doing well. Prabhupada is here mentioning, as already mentioned, Lord Krishna married 16,108 wives, and each one of them had 10 sons. Therefore, Krishna had 161,080 sons. They all grew up, and each one of them had many sons as their father. The whole aggregate was something near 1,610,800 family members of the Lord. So that was it was a very huge family. This shloka is very important shloka. Shloka number 32 and 33. Tataiva anucharaha shaureha shrutadevo uddavadayaha swanandananda shesh shanya ye chanye satvata rishabhaha सात्वता रषाभाः अपि स्वस्ति आस्ते सर्वे रामकृष्ण भुजाश्रयाः अपि स्मरन्ति कुशलम् अस्माकं बद्ध सौहृदाः उद्धवाद्य श्रुतदेव उद्धवाद्य सुनन्द नन्द शीर्षनयः शीर्षनयाः. Also, Shrutadeva, Uddhava, and others, Nanda, Sunanda, and other leaders of liberated souls who are constant companions of the Lord are protected by Lord Balarama and Krishna. Are they all doing well in their respective functions? Do they, who are all eternally bound in friendship with us, remember our welfare? In this shloka, the important line is Rama Krishna Bhujashrayaha. Rama means Balarama, Krishna is Lord Krishna, Bhuja Ashraya is under protection. When we meet someone, what should we talk? This dialogue between Yudhishthir Maharaj and this dialogue between Yudhishthir Maharaj and um, Yudhishthir Maharaj and Arjuna are very significant. When we meet someone, what should we talk? How to connect with people and what subject we can talk with them, what we should talk to devotee who has gone to some place and come back. This is something which we can learn from this chapter. We see Yudhishthir Maharaj is inquiring so many relatives, key personalities residing in the palace, residing in Dwaraka, which is visited by Arjuna. Arjuna has gone 7 months back. He is returning after significant duration of times. Thus, enquiries of Yudhishthir Maharaj are deeper. Yadus were very dear and close friends of Pandavas. They were guarded. Pandavas and Yadus both were guarded by Krishna. Krishna made relationship between Yadus and Pandavas deeper by giving Shubhadra, his sister, as wife to Arjuna. Thus, there is a relationship. There is a sambandha between Pandavas and Yadus. And this relationship was very strong. Krishna always wants a relationship with his devotees to be more and more intimate. Krishna knows very well that affinity for relationship with blood relatives is much deeper, like sister or brother. The other relationship which is very closer is the conjugal relationship, which is much more deeper. Once there is a progeny in the family, that progeny belongs to both husband and wife. That way, Abhimanyu was son of Subhadra, and Arjuna was belonging to both Yadu dynasty and Kuru dynasty. And Parikshit Maharaj, who is now son of Abhimanyu, is once again part of both Yadu dynasty and Pandava son Kuru dynasty. Thus, when we ask questions, um, thus when we get a person who has traveled to our relative's home, we ask question about everyone in the family, key personalities. When some devotees comes from a place uh, um, in which we have lived sometime in our life, we want to understand what is the status of that place. Same thing Yudhishthir Maharaj is doing. So Yudhishthir Maharaj knows everyone in Yadu dynasty. That is why Yudhishthir Maharaj is inquiring about every person in Yadu dynasty. For example, if a devotee comes from Mayapur, we ask how was the darshan, how was the deity kitchen, what were they serving in deity kitchen, how is Guru Maharaj, did we get chance to serve Guru Maharaj, did the devotee go to Rajapur, did he have darshan of Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. These were some common questions we ask. Same way, Yudhishthir Maharaj is asking so many questions to Arjuna. There is one interesting shloka in 10th canto, which is Yashyatma Buddhir Kunapetri Dhatuke Svadiya Kalatradishu Bhauma Ijjayadi Yatirtha Buddhi Shalilena Karihichid Janesha Abnesha Sa Eva Gokaraha. One who identifies itself as inert body composed of mucus, bile. I'm just sharing my screen. And air, who assumes his family and wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks an earthen image or land of his birth is worshipable, and who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but who never identifies himself with, feels kinships with, worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than cows or a cow or an ass. So uh, when Krishna goes to a place where there are sages and saints, he offers obeisances and asks them questions and asks them to speak philosophical. When aged people like Nanda Baba and Yashodama meet Vasudeva and Devaki, they engage in conversation that reflect their experiences and status. They discuss places they have visited, important events in their life, and key accomplishments. These exchanges are filled with mutual respect and admiration, often leading to exchange of prices. Such reciprocal interactions naturally deepen the love and respect they have for each other. And since Yashoda and Nanda Baba and Vasudeva and Devaki are devotees, their discussions are focused on Krishna. Same way, uh, when we visit a holy place, and if we do not inquire uh, about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and if we are not able to respect the spiritual importance of the people whom we meet, then our we are like cow or ass. So we see that when Yudhishthir Maharaj is speaking with Arjuna, his questions were focused on inquiries about devotees of the Lord. He inquires about Krishna, he inquires about the land of where Yadus lived. That is why that is speciality about devotees. So devotees always inquire about other devotees and well-being of the devotees. This is very important. So when we meet a devotee after a long time, we should inquire about topics which are concerning Krishna. Now let us go to the next shloka. भगवान् अपि गोविन्दो ब्रह्मण्यभक्तवत्सलः कच्चित्पुरे सुधर्मायां शकम् आस्ते सुहृद्वृतः is Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gives pleasure to the cows, the senses, and brahmanas, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, enjoying pious assembly at Dwarakapuri, surrounded by friends. Now, Prabhupada in the purport is majorly talking about the word Govinda. Here in this particular verse, Lord is described as Bhagavan, Govinda, Brahmanya, Bhaktavatsala. He is Bhagavan Swayam, or the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, full with all opulences, all power, all knowledge, all beauty, all fame, all renunciation. The essence of rendering devotional service lies in purifying our senses. So, Srila Prabhupada is writing here, he is Govinda because he is pleasure of cows and senses. Those who have purified the senses by devotional service of the Lord can render unto him real service and thereby derive transcendental pleasure out of such purified senses. When the senses are purified, the service offered becomes real and meaningful, and it brings genuine pleasure. If someone feels no joy when performing devotional service, it is indication that their senses are not yet fully purified. In such situation, it is important to keep continuing our service, devotional service. This process gradually purifies the senses, allowing one to experience the true pleasure in service. Senses are impure when they are drawn towards false pressure and unable to appreciate the taste of genuine devotional service. When our senses seek enjoyment in temporary and illusory pleasures, they become tainted, preventing us from relishing the true essence of devotional life. So Srila Prabhupada is writing, only the impure conditioned living entity, being living being cannot derive any pleasure from senses, but being illusioned by false pleasure of senses, he becomes servant of the senses. Walking in the material world, we often encounter illusory pleasures that lure us away from spiritual fulfillment. For instance, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we might have indulged in eating meat, practice, eating meat and or smoking or taking alcohol. But once we understood the spiritual knowledge, um, once we understood the concept of Krishna consciousness, it reveals, this knowledge reveals that uh, that this type of pressure is false. The pleasure derived from eating meat, from intoxicants, enjoyment with opposite sex, all these are false and harmful pressure. The activities like illicit sex, gambling, and intoxication are all deceptive pleasures, and they seem enjoyable, but they ultimately lead to suffering. These are called as shadow pleasures, which are just reflections of the real joy which comes when when we satisfy Krishna by serving him. These pleasures that we get from illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, intoxication is like licking the outside of the honey bottle, where the taste of real honey is just an illusion. It remains completely elusive. These false pressure are just deceptive in nature. They might seem satisfying, like chewing gum. When we put a chewing gum in our mouth, there will be initial burst of flavor. After some time, there is no more flavor in our tongue. We lose now we lose the taste. Same way, the sensual pressures lose their appeal after over a period of time. And just like we chew the chewing gum, thinking at some point we will get taste, we keep on chewing. So this is what is told in Bhagavatam as puna puna charavita charavananam, the repeated chewing of the chewed, where people continuously chase after the temporary pleasures and they will never attain any satisfaction. Majority of the people are caught in this cycle of temporary pressure. So we can see this sloka, Shri Prahlado Vacha, Matirna Krishne Parata Svatova, Mito Avipadyeta Griha Vratanam, Andanta Gobir Vishatam Tamishram, Punascharavita Charavananam. So Prahlad Maharaj replies, because of their uncontrolled senses, person too addicted to materialistic life make progress towards hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclination towards Krishna are never aroused either by instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. By pursuing false pleasures, our senses remain impure, clouded with material desires. To begin purifying our senses, we must engage in what is known as dutiful devotional service. This involves following the rules and regulations laid out by Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, such as abstaining from meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication. These practices form the foundation of a dutiful devotional service. When we sincerely follow these guidelines, our senses gradually become purified. At this purification, when this purification takes place, we start to experience spiritual happiness. This happiness is different from temporary sensual pressure. This happiness is deep, it is fulfilling, it is enduring. Through this process, our devotional service becomes more genuine, leading us closer to true spiritual fulfillment. In Bhagavad Gita 4.11, um, Krishna is telling, Ye yatamam prapadyante, tam stataiva bhajamyaham, mama vartama anuvartante, manushyaha partha sarvashaha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Krishna is like a perfect banker. At first, he says, as you surrender unto me, I will reward you accordingly. He then carefully observes our sincerity. If we are truly sincere, then when we take one step towards Krishna, he takes multiple steps closer to us. He offers himself completely to devotee. The bliss experienced by devotee in such moments is vast like ocean. That is why Krishna is called as Govinda. He gives pleasure to us. Govinda also means the one who gives pleasure to cows and brahmanas. Srila Prabhupada elaborates the definition of Govinda as protector of cows and Brahminical culture in purport. Prabhupada is mentioning by Brahminical culture the dormant development of dormant qualities of goodness, namely truthfulness, equanimity, sense control, forbearance, simplicity, general knowledge, transcendental knowledge, and firm faith in Vedic wisdom. One can become a Brahmana and thus he can see Lord as he is. Now, there is one interesting thing here. Krishna is giving pleasure to devotees. Why? Because he is always happy. He is always happy. Lord, he is happy even in the middle of battlefield of Kurukshetra. We see that Sanjaya is telling Tamvacha Rishikeshaha Prahassanaiva Bharata Senayor Ubayor Madhye Vishidantam Idam Vacha, O descendant of Bharata. At that time, Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to grief stricken Arjuna. So Krishna remains blissful even in the midst of intense situations such as battlefield of Kurukshetra. Even in the Kaliya Leela, Krishna just danced on the head of Kaliya when they all devotees were afraid that the Kaliya snake will bite Krishna, but Krishna was happy dancing on the head of um, Kaliya. That is why Kachit Pure Sudharmyam Shukam Aste Suhrid Vritaha. Shukam, happiness, thus enjoy, Suhrit Vritaha, surrounded. So Krishna is always enjoying in along with all devotees. So that is why Prabhupada is elaborating on the word Govinda and the happiness which comes from Krishna. Let us go to the next shloka. There's one more point. Um, Krishna is always, there's one more point in the purport. Sure. He simply inquired about his residential palace Dwarakapuri, where pious men assemble. Lord stays only where pious men assemble and takes pleasure in glorifying the supreme truth. Maharaj Yudhishthira was anxious to know about the pious men and pious activities in the city of Dwaraka. Yudhishthir Maharaj knows that Krishna is always surrounded by devotees. So if there are devotees in Dwaraka, then definitely Krishna is there. Now, Krishna is, so here in sloka number 2.4, Arjuna is asking Krishna, Katam Bhishmam Aham Shanke Dronam Cha Madhusudana Ishubi Pratyotsami Puja Irva Risudana. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of mother, how can I counterattack with arrows in battlefield men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? Arjuna is asking, how can I kill my grandfather and guru? You have killed demons like Madhu, but you want to kill my relatives who are great souls. Arjuna is asking, what is this logic, Krishna? You can kill them and become Bhishma or Drona Sudana. I don't want to kill them and get the bad name. He is telling, even if they attack, they should not be counter-attacked. It is a general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight, even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior. They should not be harshly treated. Then how is it possible for Arjuna to counter-attack them? So that is so now he is not able to attack the attack his grandfather and guru. Similar theme is coming in another shloka in Chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. Kimno Rajena Govinda Kimboge Jivitena va Eshamarte Kankshitam no Rajyam Boga Shukani cha. The theme between this shloka 1.32 and 2.4 are similar. Arjuna is asking, "O Govinda, you are giving pleasure to senses, you give pleasure to, you give joy to senses. Um, why you want to put me in distress by making me kill my grandfather and my master and my guru? You yourself can kill them and become, instead of Madhusudana, you can become Drona Sudana or Bhishma Sudana. You don't put me in trouble." Arjuna's understanding is that without the presence of loved ones, the joy of success becomes hollow. This mentality of seeking enjoyment is criticized by Srila Prabhupada in the purport for this verse. Arjuna, addressing Krishna as Govinda, expresses his concern that although Krishna is the ultimate pleasure giver to senses, by Krishna instructing Arjuna to fight against his relatives, Krishna has shifted him from pleasure to pain. So he is not giving pleasure to Arjuna, he is giving pain to Arjuna. So this attitude is described by Prabhupada as complete misunderstanding of devotional service. Devotional service is for pleasure of Krishna, not pleasure of us. When our senses are impure, we cannot expect Krishna to fulfill our desires. Krishna pleases the senses of those who follow his commands. Therefore, the essence of Bhakti Yoga lies in making our senses obedient to Krishna. Bhakti Yoga has two stages. One is Vaidhi Bhakti, other one is Raganuga Bhakti. In Vaidhi Bhakti stage, our senses are impure, but by making them serve Krishna, they begin to purify. Once our senses are purified, applying them in Krishna service leads to boundless bliss. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, there is a very interesting shloka. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of God, the Master of all senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto Supreme, there are two side effects. One is free from all material designation, and one's senses are purified simply by being employed in service of the Lord. So we can experience from ourselves the ecstasy we feel when we do kirtan, when we see abhishekam, when we chant the holy name of Lord, when we eat prasadam, when we attend Mangalarti. This could be just a drop of ecstasy. In this pure state itself, we see that by just a tinge of happiness, we feel tinge of that bhakti, we feel it so nice, it is so pleasing. Then we can imagine the extent of ecstasy that we get when our senses are spiritualized. Okay, so that stage is explained in Chaitanya Leela. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt that type of ecstasy. Okay, we can get that type of happiness, but right now we are in Vaidhi stage, so we should practice devotional service. We should follow the instructions given by Srila Prabhupada and purify our existence. So that is the most important thing. Okay. In canto number 3, there is an interesting dialogue between um, Uddhava and Vidura. Vidura just ask about, Uddhava inquires Uddhava about the pastimes and activities of Lord Krishna in Dwaraka. As soon as Uddhava hears the name of Krishna, he faints. So that is the level of ecstasy. We can see that great devotees are knocked down by spiritual bliss. Thus, Lord Govinda floods the heart of devotees with the bliss of his name, fame, pastimes, etc. Uh, you see Arjuna speaking about Lord Krishna in one hand, and then he profusely sheds tears. So Lord is flooding his heart with ocean of bliss, and hence he is feeling this ecstasy. In Bhagavad Gita 13.22, there is a very interesting sloga. Purusha prakatisto hi bhunkte prakriti jan gunam karanam guna sangosya sad asad yoni janmashu. This is the first stage. Our senses are very impure. That means the living entity in the material world follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with material nature. Thus, he meets good and evil among various species. The living entity as association based on three modes. Sometimes the associations are good, sometimes the associations are very bad. Um, when the association is bad, then the senses become impure, and this results in substantial challenges in life. Everyone in the material world possesses senses which are impure. So this is the first stage when we are engaging our senses in activities which are tainted with three modes of material nature. The second stage, our senses are semi-impure. When we engage in reading Srila Prabhupada's books, listen to the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, we progress, chant the holy name, we progress, our senses get gradually purified. At this point, the senses are partly influenced by material distractions and partly drawn towards Krishna. So this stage is like 50-50 balance stage. Okay. And the third stage is purified stage. So there is a shloka, Rajgadvesha vimukataistu vishayan indriyascharan atma vashaye videyatma prasadam atigachati. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulatory principles of freedom can obtain complete mercy of the Lord. If you see the next shloka here, prasade sarva dukkana anir asyopajayate prasanna chetaso hi ashu buddhi paryavatishtate. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such a satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So this is the purified state. Purified centers lead to profound knowledge, true happiness, and genuine detachment. At this level, even the prospect of lower sensual pleasures will evoke a sense of revulsion. And this one, we can see the sense of revulsion, we can see in this shloka 2.60, where Srila Prabhupada is quoting the shloka from Yamunacharya's Stotra Ratna. Yad avadi mama cheta krishna padara vinde nava nava rasadamni udyantam rantum asit tad avadi bata nari sangame smaranyamane bhavati mukha vikara sustu nistivanam cha. Since my mind has been engaged in service of lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor, whenever I think of sex life with women, my face at once turns from it, and I spit at the thought. So, purified senses are naturally drawn towards sattvic qualities. For instance, while others might be engaged in watching TV, smoking, drinking, indulging in illicit sex, eating meat, we are here discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. This is example of sattvic nature. Sattvic nature inherently attracts knowledge, which can however lead to pride if not managed properly. This pride can shift us from sattva guna to rajo and guna and to tamo guna. Okay, this interplay between Rajas Tamas is a root cause of suffering in the material world. To maintain our position, Sattva Guna, it is essential to continuously seek knowledge and happiness while adhering to the principles of detachment, following a very strict sadhana. Avoiding pride requires engaging in humble devotional service, and combating laziness necessitates a disciplined approach to sadhana. Why um, pride is important? Why avoiding pride is important? Generally, sattva guna results in pride, and sattva guna also brings in complacency. Therefore, we should avoid pride by taking up some humble devotional service, and we should avoid laziness, complacency by taking a well defined sadhana schedule. By combining these two things, strict sadhana and a humble service, we can sustain a sattvic nature over a period of time. A rigorous morning program is very important. So, rigorous morning program means getting up early in the morning, uh, chant few rounds before Mangalarti, and then continue complete 16 rounds, then offer, do Darshanarti, then prepare food for Krishna, Bhoga for Krishna, offer it to Krishna, then partake the food, then have Bhagavatam class, Bhagavad Gita class. This 3 to 4 hours continuous engagement in Krishna conscious topics brings a lot of positive vibe about Krishna consciousness in us. Therefore, we will not uh, give up Krishna consciousness in our life. Ultimately, what we read, speak, hear, do, eat depends on our regular association. So, by aligning ourselves to Sastic practices, we can fill our heart with Govinda. Okay, now let us go to next shloka, shloka number 35 and 36. Mangalaya cha lokanam shemaya cha bhavaya cha aste yadu kulam bodhav adyo ananta shankapuman yadbahu danda guptayam swaporyam yadavarchitaha kridanti paramanandam mahapaurushika iva. The original personality of God of the enjoyer and Balarama, the perennial Lord Ananta, are staying in the ocean of Yadu dynasty for the welfare, protection, and general progress of the entire universe. And the members of Yadu dynasty, being protected by arms of the Lord, are enjoying life like residents of spiritual sky. Mangalaya for all good. This is bestowing prema, divine love. Lokanam of all planets. Then Shemaya for protection. Protection, it signifies holiness, which denotes liberation from material senses. Additionally, Vavaya stands for material welfare. So, Mangalaya cha lokanam shevaya, shemaya cha bhavaya cha. These three terms represent different levels of blessings granted by the Lord. When Balarama assists Krishna in residing joyfully with the Yadu dynasty in the ocean of the love, with the ultimate purpose is to give prema, shema, and bhava to people. Enjoy for welfare, protection, and general progress. As we have discussed many times, personality of God and Vishnu reside within each and every universe in two capacities, namely Garbhoda Kashai Vishnu and Shiroda Kashai Vishnu. The Shiroda Kashai Vishnu has his own planet on the north top of the universe, and there is a great ocean of milk where Lord resides on the bed of Ananta incarnation of Baladeva. Yudhishthir Maharaj is extolling the Yadavas for their immense power. The purport beautifully illustrates, you know, this by describing how in Vaikuntha devotees are perpetually engaged in singing and hearing about Lord's glories. Whenever Lord appears for darshan, he is immediately surrounded by his devotees. Similarly, in Dwaraka, Lord is continually surrounded by his devotee. Whether he is in his palace, walking in Sudharma assembly, or present in the assembly itself, he is always surrounded by his devotees. We see that this verse captures how Yudhishthir Maharaj is envisioning the entire Yadu dynasty. Mangalaya Chal Shemaya Bhavaya, welfare, protection, and general progress. Mangalaya refers to divine love. Shemaya refers to holiness, which is liberation from material miseries. And Bhavaya stands for material welfare. Okay, let us go to the next shloka. Yat pada shushrushana यत्पादशुश्रूषणमुख्यकर्मणा सत्यादयोदि अस्तशस्त्रयोषितः निर्जित्य शङ्केति दशांस्तद् आशिषो अरन्त्यवज्रायुधवलोभ vallabhochitaha. Simply by administering comforts at the lotus feet of Lord, which is most important of all services, the queens at Dwaraka, headed by Satyabhama, induce the Lord to conquer the demigods. Thus, queens enjoy things which are prerogatives or the wives of controller of thunderbolts. Three Dashan is denizens of heaven. Tad Ashishaha, which is enjoyed by them, denizens of heaven. So, there are two things which Krishna fought. One is Parijata, other one is Sudharma. Yadus defeated denizens of heaven by power and strength of Krishna. Yadus are always under protection of Krishna. In this way, both Sudharma assembly and Parijata flower was brought to earth. Let us go to the next shloka. Yadba Yadbahu Danda Yadbahu Danda Abhyudaya Anujivino Yadu Pravira hi Akuto Paya Muho Adikramanti Angribi Ahartam Balag Sabam Swadharmam Sura Sattamochitam. Here, the most interesting thing is Bahu Abhyudaya. This literally means shoulders of Lord Sri Krishna. The great heroes of Yadu dynasties are always being protected by arms of Lord Shri Krishna. They remain fearless in every respect, and therefore the feet trample over Sudharma assembly, which the best demigod deserved, but which was taken away from them. Yadus were able to accomplish big things because of Krishna's protection, because they were always protected by the powerful arms of Lord Krishna. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल, हरि 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 हरे कृष्ण.